poppin', people? We are back with yet another Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon update. Today, a brand new trailer was revealed to us today, and I can't believe it. They are actually, it seems like it's almost every couple of days now. Every couple of days, or at least like a week at the most. They are giving us brand new Pokemon news. This trailer does confirm the two Pokemon that we saw in Koro a couple days ago, and not a couple days ago, about a week ago actually. About a week ago, right? Yeah, it was a week ago. That was the 12th. Anyways, they show the Pokemon from Koro in this trailer, as well as 3 other Pokemon, and then we also have some other details on some other stuff. So let's go ahead and hop right into that, because we got Pokemon got some explaining to with some of these abilities, man. Alright, so the first Pokemon we have is Bounsweet, and this is going to be the fruit Pokemon. It is a grass type, and I forgot the name of the fruit that it actually is. It looks just like the actual fruit that it is, but I don't remember the name. But anyways, because it exudes a delicious smell from its entire body, Bounsweet is popular with Pokemon and people of the Alola region. Can I eat it though? Bounsweet's scent has a calming effect on humans, so many people let them live inside their homes as a sort of air freshener. Unfortunately, it's sometimes swallowed whole by Pokemon drawn to its aroma, so I can eat it. That's all I needed to know. That's all I needed to know. This thing is 7 pounds though. Jesus, man, that's a giant fruit. When running away from other Pokemon, Bounsweet flees danger by skipping along the ground. Since its bouncy movements don't convey to others that it's actually in desperate flight, no one ever comes to its aid. It looks like he's skipping and having a good time. They're not gonna help him out. When attacked by enemies, it drives them off by rotating the calyx on its head. The downside is how dizzy it gets afterward. Hey, as long as it doesn't die, right? On to the next one. Now here is something that's very interesting, okay? Now this Pokemon right here has just been getting more and more interesting as time goes on, alright? So, obviously, the freaking name. Its name is Bewear, and the Wear is spelled E-A-R. So it's like bear with E-W in there, so it's Bewear instead of bear. Like, all I have to say about that is, anyways, back to this Pokemon. This Pokemon is very, very interesting for a couple of reasons. First off, we find out that its height is 6 feet and 11 inches. And it weighs 300 pounds. So this Pokemon is gigantic, and we actually saw that in the trailer, that this Pokemon is huge, okay? So that's that. Now the other interesting part about it is its ability, Fluffy. Okay, now let's go ahead and read the description of this Pokemon. When Bewear is acting in a friendly fashion, just swinging its arms around, you must never dare to approach it carelessly. It is acknowledged to be a dangerous Pokemon even within the Alola region. You may see warning signs posted near places it resides. When Bewear grows fond of its trainer, it may show that feeling in a fond embrace, but the force of that hug is tremendous. Trainers must teach these Pokemon how to restrain their strength when showing affection. Bewear may have the Fluffy ability. Now here's where stuff gets crazy, okay? Bewear may have the Fluffy ability, a new ability that no Pokemon has ever possessed before. The Fluffy ability halves the damage taken from attacks that make direct contact. Now obviously, okay, that's the same as Fur Coat, pretty much. But in return, it also doubles the damage taken from fire type moves. Now that's different from Fur Coat. This is a worse version of Fur Coat, but it's on a much, much, much better Pokemon. Now, a lot of people were tweeting me when I was talking about how broken this ability would be. They were saying, but it's just Fur Coat, but worse. Yes, it is. But imagine a Pokemon like Shedinja, okay? Shedinja. Shedinja has one of the most broken abilities in the entire game. It only takes super effective damage. But it's a garbage Pokemon because it has 1 HP. Now let's look at Furfrou, for instance. Furfrou is complete ass, okay? It doesn't matter what ability it has. Its stats are garbage. It's just a bad Pokemon. It's a bad typing. Its stats are bad. Its ability is amazing, yes, but it's a shitty Pokemon. Now let's take a look at this monster, okay? This Pokemon has already been proven to have, this Pokemon's attack stat is probably going to be absolutely ridiculous. I'm thinking it's going to be around 500. I'm thinking it's going to be around 500. At least 400 something, at least 400. It's going to be at least base 130, maybe 135, at least, okay? So take that into consideration with its ability. It's going to be able to switch it on a lot of physical attacks if they do make contact. Now, obviously, it does gain a fire weakness, yes. So it has, how many weaknesses now? It has flying, psychic, fighting, fire, and I think that's it. So it has one extra weakness, but it resists direct impact attacks. It cuts them in half. So it basically gets a resistance to, you know, a lot of the moves that it's weak to, like fighting attacks. A lot of fighting attacks and flying attacks are going to be hitting him physically and touching him. So he's going to be taking neutral damage from those moves. And I'm going to assume that he's going to have a lot of HP. He is a bear. He is big. He is gigantic. He looks very... I can't look at this picture anymore. Oh, man. But it's just very interesting that a Pokemon as strong as this is going to have that kind of ability and that kind of attack stat. That's pretty cool. So now we're going to scroll down a little bit and read a little bit more. Some wild Bewear use amazing martial arts moves. Apparently, the Pokemon learn these moves by watching black belts practicing when they go out to train in the woods. Bewear's arms and legs are strong and highly developed. Its powerful spine enables it to lift objects weighing a ton or more. Oh yeah, this Pokemon is definitely going to have a gigantic attack stat. I can't wait. It loves to give crushing bear hugs. A tight hug from this Pokemon's arms will split anything at all in two. Anything at all. Yeah, I need this Pokemon to have 600 attack. Straight up. 600. 600. No more, no less. Let's go. Alright, and we're going to move on to the next Pokemon, Comfey. Now, this Pokemon straight up looks like a hula hoop. Or one of those things that goes on the Hawaiian girls' heads. Or, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, Posy Picker Pokemon. It's very, very tiny, 4 inches tall. Very, very light, 0.7 pounds. And it has a new ability called Tri-Edge. Also has another ability called Flower Veil. We know what Flower Veil does. Comfey picks flowers and always carries them around. It makes a ring of blossoms and spreads oil from its body on it, which changes the flowers so they emit a soothing fragrance. It has a habit of giving these flower rings to those it's fond of. The aroma can soothe both itself and its allies. Comfey also helps with the treatment of people and Pokemon at Pokemon centers and hospitals thanks to its aroma. When attacked by other Pokemon, it throws its flowers at them to create an opening, and then it either flees or strikes back. What? Throw some flowers in the air. Hey, look over there. Now here we go. Comfey can have the new Tri-Edge ability, an ability that no other Pokemon has had before. With the Tri-Edge ability, this Pokemon's restorative moves gain the highest priority in battle. So it sounds like it's going to be Prankster, but only for moves that help your team. Like you know, aromatherapy will go first. So that's pretty cool. I can see that being good in VGC or I don't really know. I guess it could be good in singles as well, you know, because if you know you have a sleeping Pokemon, you really need it to wake up. You can go ahead and use aromatherapy before the other Pokemon can do anything. Bow. That's that. Now here is an interesting Pokemon, okay? Mudsdale, the draft horse Pokemon. It is a ground type. It is extremely heavy at 2,028.3 pounds. Where did he come up with these numbers? That's so specific. 0.3, really? And then it has a new ability called Stamina, as well as an old ability, Own Tempo, which prevents confusion, but that doesn't really matter. Mudsdale is known for its powerful body, as well as its emotional fortitude. Eeyore looking ass. Emotional fortitude, that's not Eeyore though. Eeyore is the opposite of emotional fortitude, which keeps it from being agitated by anything. It never cries out no matter what kind of trouble it's in, and it defeats its opponent with a single powerful blow. Its legs are coated in protective mud, and the weight of this coating increases the force of its kicks. One kick and a car is a pile of scrap. Okay, I'm hoping that these descriptions actually mean that they're gonna, okay, look, because like I said, we've all seen Pidgeot's description in the Pokedex, right? It's flying at Mach 5 speed, but then it's not even a fast Pokemon in the game. I'm hoping that this thing's, they're literally saying that if it kicks the car is a pile of scrap. That has to mean that his attack stat is high, okay? It better be high, Pokemon. His attack stat better be at least 350. At least 350. Max attack, adamant, 31 IVs. It better be at least 350, okay? Mudsdale's running speed is not too swift. Okay, so that means that he's slow. He better be slow. But it has excellent power and stamina. It can carry on for 3 days and 3 nights despite dragging loads over 10 tons. Hello? So this man's dragging over... No, that doesn't even make sense. He's not carrying 20,000 pounds anywhere. What the hell, man? When Mudsdale gallops in earnest, the power of each hoof clap can dig out huge holes, even in asphalt. Mudsdale is forbidden to run on some of Alola's public roads. Holy crap. Alright, now this is the kicker, okay? No pun intended. Mudsdale can have the new stamina ability, an ability that no other Pokemon has had before. With the stamina ability, this Pokemon's defense goes up by 1 when it's hit by an attack. Hello? Now let's think about this for a second, okay? They're pretty much already implying that its defense is super high. They're already implying that its attack is super high. I'm gonna assume that its HP will be decent at least, just considering what the Pokemon's description is. But how are they gonna make its defense go up when it's hit by an attack? And I'm gonna assume that's any attack. All it says is an attack. It doesn't say a contact move. It doesn't say physical moves. It doesn't say special moves. It literally just says an attack. So when it gets hit by any move, its defense goes up. What kind of shit is that? Hello? If this thing is actually useful, if we get stealth rocks and you know, I guess you could slap toxic on it. Maybe you get some recovery moves. I don't see this being a good idea. They gotta balance this. Like what? Any attack you get hit by, your defense just goes up for literally no reason. I'm gonna assume it doesn't have any recovery moves because of that then, because that's pretty crazy. If you switch into a physical attacker, they're just done. Like, how are they supposed to kill you? Anyways, on to the next one. Obviously, a fan favorite already. Mimikyu is going to be its English name, which is pretty cool because that's pretty much what we figured out. This Pokemon is the Disguise Pokemon, and it also has the ability Disguise, which is pretty interesting. We'll get to that in a second, though. Mimikyu lives its life completely covered by its cloth and is always hidden. Okay, so I guess that's their way of never showing us what it looks like. People believe that anybody who sees its true form beneath the cloth will be stricken with a mysterious illness. People in the Alola region are convinced that you must never try to peek beneath its covering. Mimikyu's health fails when it's bathed in the rays of sun, so it prefers to stick to dark places. It's rumored that the reason it covers itself with the cloth is to avoid sunlight. The rising popularity of Pikachu-styled merchandise around 20 years ago is the reason that Mimikyu makes itself look like a Pikachu. In fact, this Pokemon is dreadfully lonely, and it thought it would be able to make friends with humans if only it looks like Pikachu. Mimikyu has the Disguise ability, a new ability that no Pokemon has ever before possessed. The Disguise ability allows it to escape damage from an enemy attack just one time, and then its appearance changes. So, it seems like you have a free switch into literally any attack. Because during the trailer, it gets hit, doesn't take any damage or anything, but then its cloth slumps over. So I guess that's the ability being gone. But either way, that's a really, really good ability. I could definitely see that thing being useful in you know, well, hopefully its stats are good. But I can definitely see it being useful because you have a freebie, pretty, you know, essentially. You can switch into literally any attack. Hopefully this thing gets some kind of shadow sneak or some kind of priority to, you know, counterattack afterwards. But it's pretty cool that it can completely avoid damage from one turn, no matter what. So I'm hoping we can find some use out of this Pokemon. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. Mimikyu's Pikachu-like appearance is due to its Disguise ability. In order to resemble Pikachu, this Pokemon makes patterns that look like eyes and a mouth appear on a regular scrap of cloth. That's a pretty good costume, you know what I'm saying? Good costume. And last but not least, we have Wimpod. I guess this is like a horseshoe crab type of Pokemon. Turntail Pokemon. Bug in water, and it has the ability Wimp Out. Wimpod have a cowardly nature and are wary of noises and sudden movements. If you approach them in a group, they'll immediately run off. When Wimpod feel threatened, they spit out poisonous liquid. The stench of this toxic fluid signals others that the danger is near. The ghosts! Despite their extreme cowardice, their curiosity leads Wimpod to approach people or Pokemon that are standing still. That doesn't make any sense at all. It literally makes no sense. Wimpod eat and store anything that they find fallen on the ground. They also scavenge any garbage that's been dropped in the sea, so they're highly valued as cleaners. They sometimes carry pearls or other valuable items so humans or Pokemon like Murkrow may target them. Wimpod has the new Wimp Out ability, an ability that no other Pokemon has had before. With the Wimp Out ability, if this Pokemon's HP drops below half in battle, it will run away or swap out for another Pokemon. So it kind of has like a built-in red card. So it seems like they're doing that a lot. They're giving Pokemon abilities that items were doing. Like, you know, they're giving Pokemon the same abilities that items had in the game, because that's literally what a red card does. You get, I mean, I guess it's not the same, because red card you get hit with any move at any point, you get switched out. but this one has pretty much a built-in red card, but only one is below half HP. So that's still pretty cool though. You know, that makes the Pokemon have more utility. You might not need to run a red card, even though you could run a red card on any Pokemon. But you might just run this thing instead of a Pokemon with a red card, you know? And then last but not least, we have some information on the global link and on hyper training, which is pretty. Let me do the hyper training first, because that's pretty interesting. The description that it has. Now, in Pokemon X and Y, we had super training, which allowed you to EV train your Pokemon. It was kind of tedious. There were better ways to do it, but super training was still, you know, a pretty cool feature that they had in X and Y. But here we have hyper training. Hyper training maximizes a Pokemon's power. In Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, you can draw forth a Pokemon's power to its utmost limit with hyper training. Pokemon grow stronger by raising their levels and increasing their base stats. However, their power is still affected by the individual strengths innate to each Pokemon. Now, with hyper training, Pokemon that have grown to level 100 will be able to increase their individual strengths, which has never been possible before. Now, I hope to Christ that means that we can actually use level 100 Pokemon on Wi-Fi instead of them taking them down to level 50. That was so stupid. Like, why would you do that? The stats are completely different at level 50. Jesus. With hyper training, you can increase the strength of a level 100 Pokemon you've been adventuring with. Now, I'm gonna assume that they know that by the time a Pokemon is level 100, okay, that they have no more EVs to give. So I'm gonna assume that this hyper training is going to be very important when it comes to competitive battling in Pokemon Sun and Moon. We have kind of learned about the synergy being a thing, so maybe that's what this has to do with. Whatever the synergy stuff is. I hope that this hyper training is probably going to have to do with that. There's more stuff here though. Bottle caps, the key to hyper training. Hyper training is done by Mr. Hyper, a man who loves to collect bottle caps. He can be found somewhere in the Alola region. If you bring him bottle caps, which you can obtain in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, you'll be able to improve your Pokemon stats with hyper training. So you have to go to this guy and he hyper trains your Pokemon for you. Okay. Magearna holds a bottle cap. The Magearna you'll be able to get will be holding a bottle cap, a precious item needed for hyper training. With a bottle cap, you can perform hyper training on any Pokemon. Get Magearna on your team and try out hyper training for yourself. Okay, what the? Why is Magearna so important? I need answers, people. And then last but not least, we have stuff on the global link. Not quite sure what this is for, but let's go ahead and read it. With the release of Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, the Pokemon Global Link, the website that connects Pokemon players around the world, will end its current Pokemon Omega Ruby, Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Y service, and will be updated to work with Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. New functions added in the update will let you enjoy Pokemon battles even more. For more information about the PGL update and the new features, check out the Pokemon Global Link, blah, 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 blah. I have the website link there. And then it goes on to say, host your own friendly competitions. On the new PGL, you'll be able to compete in official online competitions as in the past, but now there's more. A new friendly competition feature has been constructed that will allow you to become a competition host yourself and host original competitions where you set the regulations. Friendly competitions allow you to hold competitions in 2 different styles. Recruit your friends and enjoy climactic battles. I do not give not even one shit about competitions, okay? So I'm not even gonna elaborate on that, okay? I'm gonna go straight to the online competitions right here. In these internet competitions, you'll battle other participants you've been matched with and compete for the best rating. These competitions can be open to Pokemon trainers all around the world, or they can be set to only allow pre-approved trainers to enter. When the number of participants exceeds a certain number, Pokemon ranking will also be calculated, just as in official online competitions. Now here we have live competitions. Live competitions allow you to host a competition where you gather together with friends and others in the same space. The digital player ID that contains the regulations will be created as a QR code, and by scanning in that QR code, participants will be able to battle according to the competition's regulations. I don't really understand any of this, honestly, but I guess we'll figure it out. This is all pretty cool news, man. These Pokemon are getting more and more ridiculous. These abilities, man. These abilities are just crazy, dude. Holy crap. Anyways, why does Comfy look like the flower crown on Snapchat though? Anyways, thank you guys for watching. We'll be back when there is more news. I'm sure there'll be more news like next week like there usually is. If not, we'll be back whenever that is. So thank you. I'll see you guys later. Hit that like button, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at shofu, and I'm out of here. Bye.